All right, Chris and Joe, we're back hanging out, doing a little herbal tea and Tai Chi with Ted Nugent. Nuge, welcome back.
I bring the shank and the haunch and the backstraps, baby. Well, I'll tell you, the flesh, the venison is flowing here. We sent over a ton of venison jerky to the heroes in Afghanistan, the U.S. military heroes, and we provide soup kitchens and homeless shelters with just unlimited meat here in Texas, the Hunters for the Hungry program.
Well, remember,
protein.
You can check Ted out April 28th at the Pima County Fair. He'll be at the NRA National Convention with our friend of the show, Deb Ferns from Babes with Bullets.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know I'll be riding the pissed-off, angry wild boar on stage and killing it for the encore. And distributing fresh pork to all my friends.
Wow.
From between my legs.
Carnitas del Ted.
Hey, Ted, I got it. One of my favorite shows is Anthony Bourdain. No Reservations.
Fun or what?
He came out and you gave a real intimate look at your ranch in Waco and kind of your philosophy on how you live. And if you haven't seen it, listeners, go on YouTube, check it out. It's really super cool.
Yeah, Tony had told me that that's the number one requested and the number one hated show on the Travel Channel. He said he was bombarded with unprecedented letters of support for, becoming a pro-gun guy and celebrating that the Nugent family has had the most pure and organic diet forever, and that's wild game. And he admitted that on his show, even though he's a liberal New York guy.
Well, and you said harvest one, breed two, or plant one tree and plant two more. I mean, that's your philosophy of life.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that all by myself.
Hey, Ted, one of the things that we look at in southern Arizona here, Tucson in particular, is we've had about 20, 25 years of pretty liberal Democratic rule. We have an inner core that has a hard time filling potholes, lots of graffiti and weeds, and our suburbs are flourishing. Business class isn't quite coming in. And I know you're from Detroit, and Detroit has followed a very similar path last 10, 15 years. They just can't make the hard choices.
We've been called the Detroit of the desert, Ted.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
And the state of Michigan is going to come in and take over Detroit. Yeah, Michigan is doing a receivership, putting a city manager in there to just basically take over because they can't get themselves out of their own way.
Well, let me give you a thumbnail here. I was born in 1948. My dad had just defeated the Japs and the Nazis. America was celebrating a unification for righteousness over evil that the whole world celebrated. America, or GIs, saved planet Earth from the Nazis and the Japs. Let's admit that right now. So there was a powerful positive force, and no question about it, my birth town of Detroit, Michigan, was the epicenter of the most productive Herculean work ethic in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
We were the engine of the Industrial Revolution. What Detroit, what Michigan represented in my earliest years, I was there till I was 16, was the most friendly, upbeat, crime-free neighborliness. Everybody would help everybody. There wasn't a negative to be found. The entire city was manicured. Everybody took pride in their homes and their yards and their vehicles and the way they carried themselves. There was both a literal and figurative posture of upright caring.
Yeah.
And then the liberals started coming in. They would identify a few hardship cases, and so they would create policies to assist the few hardship cases. Well, unfortunately, when someone who is on the borderline of wanting to be productive or wanting to be slovenly sees a policy established that helps the hardship cases, they figure if they can fake a hardship case, they can get in on it too. Well, that metastasized to the point where I took my children, my grandchildren, back to Detroit a few years back for the Amboy Dukes' 42nd anniversary, and it looked like Beirut, but dirtier. The most magnificent architecture on this beautiful, shimmering #1 walleye and smallmouth fishery on the planet, the Detroit River, was basically a war-torn hell zone. And to emphasize what Mayor Coleman Young and Governor Jennifer Granholm and the liberal Democrat policies represent, there's this huge sucking sound where this toxic tail wagged the otherwise beautiful Michigan dog. And just to emphasize how soulless and decrepit and evil these liberal Democrat policies had encouraged people to be, at noon, the day that we got together for our 42nd Amboy Dukes anniversary, was a man in the middle of the street on Woodward Avenue taking a dump. And I stopped the car and I said, Rocco was about 18 or 19 at the time. I said, Rocco, this is what happens when the government interferes and brainwashes you that somebody else has to pay for your birth control. Somebody else has to buy you a cell phone. Someone will get you food stamps. Someone will guarantee your kid's school lunch. Someone will guarantee all this stuff that is not enumerated in the U.S. Constitution or the Bill of Rights or by any common sense considerations whatsoever. You will become a subhuman, and you will relieve yourself in daylight on the streets of your hometown. I'm telling you, if you want America to go the final distance to cultural suicide, then do what President Barack Obama is doing, and he's following the model of Mayor Coleman Young's Detroit. And if we continue on this path
and how to work out,
fail to elect Mitt Romney, we will be a toxic subdivision of Indonesia.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. I know you're a Romney guy. Can someone talk a little sense in the Santorum and just say, "Hey, have a nice day. Thanks for the run," and move.
And God bless Rick Santorum.
Yep.
What a great guy. And Newt Gingrich, I got to tell you, I've spent time with these guys. Great guy. Ron Paul, a genuine hero. But there's only one boat that's going to take the medicine to America. There's only one boat that is seaworthy, that's going to make the trip to bring medicine to America, and that boat is Mitt Romney. I had a sincere heart-to-heart talk with Mitt Romney and his family. This guy is ready. This guy is going to be driven by the U.S. Constitution, a duty to we the people, the Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, and be that you can be. And he's going to have a hell of a time. But I implore, beseech, pray, beg, and prod America, get behind Mitt Romney. This guy's ready to get the job done, and he will never, ever compromise our Second Amendment rights, and he will gut Fedzilla and get rid of the vulgar, obscene, toxic fat and waste that is destroying this country.
Hey, Ted, you're going to be playing April 28th in Tucson. Tucson, what's your memories of Tucson? Because I know you've been here a bunch.
Lots of electricity and short skirts. I remember the electricity and the short. No, I got a lot of friends there. I mean, God bless Arizona. I mean, I rock and roll there every chance I get, and I come hunting there. Is Clarence Dupnick still the sheriff down there?
Afraid so.
I'm afraid so, too. That's the only problem with Arizona. That being said, I would implore Sheriff Dupnick to study the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and try to get back on track to that oath he took to the U.S. Constitution.
We got a big congressional race going on here with the vacated seat from Gabrielle Giffords and State Senator Frank Antonori. I don't know if you got a chance to meet him last time. Big hunters, you guys talked hunting, and he's one of the folks that's running. A couple other folks as well. So.
Well, I hope Arizonans getting reconnected, because we got to get people who stick to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, back in office. But I got my buddies POF Frank DeSome over there at POF, the manufacturer of one of the greatest firearms in the world. My buddies at Galco, and I'm a captain on the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department under the greatest sheriff in the world, Joe Arpaio. And I want to salute all my friends at ICE and Border Patrol and all the good sheriff's deputies out there that are doing the job. And just all the people that have supported my incredible career in Arizona. I've been playing Arizona pretty much every year since about 1970.
Nice.
So I really have a great lineage back there. Plus, I got the ultimate rock and roll drummer from Arizona, Mick Brown. And nothing but fond memories. We are cocked, locked, and ready to rock. I'm really excited to get back there, man.
Hey, Ted, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah,
we'll love to have you on it as we move through this presidential election. I'm sure the country will throw even more fun stuff to talk about.
I'll tell you, Chris and Joe, because you got some goofballs there in Arizona, why don't we threaten them right now live on the radio? My name's Ted Nugent, and I dare you. I'm going to get back on with Chris and Joe real soon, and I dare you to call in and try to argue with me.
You got it.
Let's do it, because
Thanks,
I'm
Ted.
right, because the truth is right, logic works, and if you don't get it, go smoke a joint and drop dead.
Ted, thanks for your inspiring words.
All right, guys, live it up. God
Have a
bless
great
Arizona.
morning.
We're bringing Wango Tango dance lessons to Tucson, baby.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, live it up.
There it is, Ted Nugent. Go to tednugent.com or PimaCountyFair.com to get tickets for his show on April 28th over at the fairgrounds. So, Chris and Joe, wake up Tucson. We got to get Joe to go call up the Attorney General. So, wake up Tucson, 1030 KVOI, The Voice. Chris and Joe.
No excuses, no laziness, no complaints. Wake up, Tucson. Call 790-2040.